Good evening, Wareham. There's an echo. Neil?
No.
It's on her laptop.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry. Good evening and welcome to the August 19th, 2025 Select Board meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
With us tonight are Mr. Still, Mr. Chadwick, Ms. Whiteside, our chair, me, and Mr. Gomes. Remotely will be nobody.
Correct. Both town council and town administrator have been excused. They're on vacation. And I declare that there is a quorum present. Let's see. Mr. Sullivan, how about you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, resident comments. Is there anyone here who would like to address this board on something that is not on the agenda? Mr. Sullivan, come forward, please, and identify yourself for the record and make sure the green light is on.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Neil Sullivan. I live at 7 Groveland Street in Onset, Massachusetts. And thank you all, first of all, for your time this evening. I want to discuss the Onset Bluff and some of the frustrations I've had over the maintenance and the disrepair of that particular piece of town property. But before I do so, I want to congratulate everybody in this room, and please pass it on to all the right parties. Lopes Playground and the Bayview Park are beautiful. You did a great job. It's a long time coming. That combined with the bandstand has really made the downtown pick up. You look at Cat Jones, you look at all of the staff, the types of events that are down there, there's a renewed vibrance, new sense of community, and it all comes from Public Works. So please pass that along to everyone. That being said, I believe there's one additional piece that may be the most cost-effective of all to address, and that's the town bluff. And when I say the town bluff, I mean that piece of property from the town pier to the Point Independence Bridge. I call it a bluff, people call it different things, but effectively it's one of the most beautiful scenic vistas on the entire Cape. Unfortunately, it is completely overrun with invasive plants, dead trees, and just a general lack of maintenance, to the point that you can't go up there now and see the water from the vast majority of the seating areas. And unfortunately, it's right in the center of town, it's right in everybody's earshot, and we need to do something about it. I, as a citizen, have attempted to do that. 5 years ago, I got one of the selectmen, I got the town administrator, the head of municipal maintenance, the harbor master, the head of economic development, the conservation agent, and one of the board members from the conservation department to all meet and walk at the bluff. We all uniformly agreed that there were invasive plants there were dead trees and all the like, and something needed to be done. I walked away saying, great. Nothing happened. All I heard was that we needed to spend a lot of money in order to have an engineering study to identify every single plant on the bluff. It had to be approved and reviewed. The price being thrown around was about $40,000. It was just nuts. A year later, I got a bunch of like-minded citizens, and I got the harbor master, and we said, let's at least go up there and clean up the trash. Let's cut some of the debris that's on the stairwells going down. We found Christmas trees down there, a lot of trash, a lot of trees that were cut by citizens who were just frustrated with the plant growing in front of them, right, wrong, or indifferently. I know it's illegal, but at some point you can't blame them. It's going to happen. We took all of that away. Thank God we had some of the equipment from the harbor master's office. Again, after we did that, nothing happened. 2 years ago, I went to the fall town meeting. I stood up and I said, listen, something's got to happen. What do we need to do to allow the municipal maintenance to take care of that bluff? The municipal maintenance was right there, and they were like, we need you, Mr. Sullivan. At that point, I was told we needed to have a new town bylaw. Maybe the terminology is not right. Members of that meeting, the selectmen, assisted me right there on the spot in writing the language that was necessary. It was codified by a vote at the biannual meeting 2 years ago. Nothing happened. I was told after the fact that, oh, conservation stepped in and said, these are the things we can't do, so we can't touch it. We're going to have a full-blown-out plan. Whatever the reason was, you've got a conservation department right now that's got all of your other departments scared to death to touch that bluff. We are 5 years out. The will of the people was to do something at town meeting 2 years ago. The will of the people is out there right now. There are many people that complain about it on a daily basis. I didn't bring a large group of people here because I didn't want to have a lot of people yelling and screaming. I just want to talk to the people that run this town and saying, do we have a small group in the Conservation Commission that is dictating the terms, or are we going to find somebody that's like-minded that can find a solution to this problem that does not cost the town a lot of money and just maintains the infrastructure that we have? And at this point, some people are calling me out personally saying, listen, you're just a broken record because we went with you to the town meeting, we did everything you asked, and nothing has happened. Why should we listen to you anymore? I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out there. They will take this into their own hands. We had 3 trees cut a year ago out there. You've heard anecdotally that there are other people that are doing certain things to other trees. They are just frustrated. None of this would have happened had we maintained our resources. So what I'm asking you here today, please hear me, is what can you do about it? What will you do about it? I know you may not respond to me right here. What steps can I take to assist in that endeavor? What can I bring to the table as far as people that are taxpayers here that want to see it happen? And can we find somebody that we can work with that's got some common sense to rectify this problem? You can't drive down there and tell me that a dead tree should require a $40,000 engineering permit. It's dead. It's not coming back. You can't tell me that you can't bring up trees 10 feet so people can't view this wonderful scenic vista. I'm a bit at my wit's end, and I don't want to see the town spending however you want to get there, the money to do this, when it just seems to me like common sense. And I am more than willing to help. I'll get people together if you need them. You know, if you need to take money out of, community development, I guess I understand it, but by the same token, we could probably use that money in better places. Why can't we just go up there with municipal maintenance and clean it up? I can't see that would be held back at other towns. I just wonder if there's an agenda by the Conservation Department that we don't want anything being touched. And I'm telling you, not just in this area, but in West Boulevard, on North Boulevard, and South Boulevard, people are coming out of the woodwork. A, they're doing it on their own, and C, when they saw us cleaning it, the first thing they said was, can you do this for my area too? We've been asking and asking, we can't do anything about it. So I appreciate your time this evening. I am frustrated, as you can hear. I'm disappointed. I've done as much as I can. I'll do a little more, but at some point, I believe it's appropriate to have the town forefathers, the select board, step in and do something about it. And if you don't have the right people, find new ones. Thank you for your time. I know you can't speak on this subject. I look forward to hearing how I can help and what steps can be taken.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to announcements after.
Is there anyone else?
Yeah, is there anyone else who chooses to speak to this board? Noah? Nobody. Thank you. I'm going to go to announcements last. So, David Kleinert, are you here? Yes. Would you step forward, identify yourself for the record? Mr. Kleinert is an applicant for the member vacancy on the Board of Health with a term to expire June 30th, 2027. There were 2 applicants for this one membership, and the other applicant withdrew his application today. You have a copy of his withdrawal. So, but we need to interview you and hear what you have to say, and so
Sure.
Identify yourself for the record.
All right, my name is Dave Kleinert. I live at 135 Pineview Terrace in Wareham, Massachusetts. I've been living there for the last 14 years. I'm an engineer. I've been practicing for 30 or 40 years now. I kind of lost count. And I'm well-versed in Board of Health issues. I've been dealing with the Board of Health in many towns all over the South Shore, from Hingham to Falmouth, along with conservation. Very tough crowd. Yeah, in some towns they are relentless. ZBA, conservation, and planning board, and that sort of thing. I mean, I'm very well versed with all the town boards and how they work. So I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I live in Wareham, and I just thought that if the opening was there, I would give my services to the town.
Any questions or?
Sure. So, as an engineer, that's why you've been before all of these different boards, was for
Oh, yeah.
various projects that you were involved in?
Everything from site plans to subdivisions to septic system repairs, both commercially and privately. I'm also up to date on stormwater management and MS4 permits for SWIP for the towns. I think I could probably be pretty helpful in that application, too.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one. Are you still actively practicing your engineer?
No, I design now. I'm not actively practicing.
Okay, I was just, concerned about any maybe conflicts with,
No, we do, the company I work for does maybe 4 or 5 septic repairs in Wareham a year, if that many, and I would simply recuse myself when they come up.
no, thank you for your interest.
Awesome. I don't think you should leave. I think you should hear the presentation that we are going to be hearing later on in the evening about the problems with the wastewater plant. So we do have
Yeah.
a presentation.
Sure,
so-
I can stay for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got
I
nothing
am
to
a
do
certified
with-
inspector for municipalities, so
Oh,
that's
awesome.
something that,
Awesome. Any other questions or comments of the young man?
None.
I'll accept a motion.
Okay, because that was item B. I thought we were on item A.
Well, we are on item A, but now we're going to, could you make a motion?
I will
Yes,
certainly make a
please.
motion to appoint David Clennert as a member to the Board of Health with a term to expire June 30, 2027.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to appoint. All of his paperwork is in order. He's done all of the training. He's handed in all of his paperwork. So is there any further discussion on the motion to appoint? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
And myself, aye. They like to give me a really hard time. So thank you very much.
thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
And let's just have 2 motions on the other 2 appointments, reappointments.
I move to reappoint Linda Scharf to the Minot Forest Committee with a term to expire June 30, 2030.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to reappoint Linda Scharf as read into the record. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
And Mrs. Corbett?
Nay.
And myself, nay. It is 3-2-0. She is appointed.
I move to reappoint.
Can you
oh,
hang on a
sorry.
second? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I move to reappoint Carl Schulz to the Wareham Affordable Housing Trust with a term to expire June 30, 2027.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to reappoint Mr. Schultz as read into the record. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
And myself, aye. It is so. And let's go to item E and Sarah Greenberg, because I think we can hear from you, have you do your presentation, and then if you choose to leave, that's fine, and we can conclude our business. Mr. Faraday, are you online? No, is Mr. Faraday or Mr.?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
I am,
and is
Madam
Mr.
Chair.
Cray-Hansel there either? Okay. Mr. Cray-Hansel may or may not come in. So, Ms. Greenberg, would you identify yourself for the record, please? And the floor is yours.
Wonderful, thank you. My name is Sarah Greenberg. I'm with GHD, and we work on wastewater infrastructure work with the sewer department. All right, let me share. Wonderful. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We're here this evening to provide a summary discussion of the Town of Wareham Comprehensive Wastewater Management Planning Project, or CWMP as I'll refer to it from here on out. This is a summary that has been provided at previous public meetings over the last year, and tonight we want to present the draft recommended plan that was produced out of that Comprehensive Wastewater Management Project, CWMP. So, backing up high level, what is a CWMP? It is a 20-year planning document that identifies what are the environmental needs of the town of Wareham, particularly for this, the impaired Wareham River watershed, and identifies what are the nitrogen thresholds that are that maintain a healthy water body, and provides recommendations and strategies as to how to meet the nitrogen loading reductions that would be required therein. So part of the goals of this Wareham CWMP project were, of course, to meet the nitrogen limit requirements in Wareham, and to also expand sewering to areas with high concentrations of septic systems, and identifying areas that have high concentrations of problematic septic systems, whilst also maintaining Wareham's existing wastewater infrastructure, of course. And other goals also include approval of CWMP for allowing the town to be able to access state financing. So an approved CWMP plan is required for 0% financing under, for example, the state revolving fund loan program that provides loan monies for wastewater infrastructure projects. And of course, another goal of this project is to develop an adaptive management plan that allows the program to be adjusted throughout implementation. So this isn't a 20-year document that's a set it and forget it. It establishes an adaptive plan so that every 5 year in milestones, you have goals that are established, and every 5 years you look at were the goals met, have the needs of the town changed, and do we reassess, so that you have an opportunity to make this sort of a living document over, or living program rather, over the next 20 years. So the CWMP is based upon environmental and public health needs. So as I mentioned, Wareham needs to reduce the amount of nitrogen entering the Wareham River watershed to meet state and federal requirements. And currently there's excess nitrogen coming into the Wareham River watershed primarily from septic systems and cranberry bogs. I'll note that there's 2 other watersheds in the town of Wareham. They do not yet have nitrogen thresholds that similarly to the nitrogen thresholds that have been established for the Wareham River watershed. So the plan does include milestones to establish these nitrogen limits, which are on the horizon. And in addition to the environmental needs, on the public health needs side, the town has identified areas with high concentration of problematic septic systems that, of course, when converted or taken offline to centralized treatment, can improve the nitrogen loading to the Wareham River watershed. And so, what does excess nitrogen do? Of course, excess nitrogen coming into the watershed leads to loss of eelgrass, which provides a habitat nursery for fish, leads to algae blooms, fish kills, as of course we all can imagine associated with that could be recreational loss and could impact property values, et cetera. But I will point out that in the figure to the right, this is over the last few decades, you see these green bars that represent the total nitrogen going into the Wareham River watershed, and you can see that it has improved over the last few decades, which is a great thing. But that blue line represents what that target water quality goal is for the watershed. So that's why there is still this plan in place to move forward to meet those reductions. So that CWMP plan identifies what are the thresholds of nitrogen that the watershed can handle, what are some strategies that can be employed to reduce the nitrogen going into the watershed, and then from all of those many strategies, a recommended draft plan comes out of that. So the draft recommended plan outlines the strategies to meet the public health needs, environmental needs, and of course, existing wastewater infrastructure needs. And a TMDL compliance plan, and TMDL just stands for total maximum daily load. And so it's the compliance plan to meet Wareham's estimated portion of nitrogen that can go to the river, to the Wareham River watershed. As you can see in this figure to the right, the blue cyan color, sort of in the center of Wareham there, is the Wareham River watershed, and it, of course, extends into other municipalities. So but this CWMP identifies only Wareham's portion of contribution to the Wareham River watershed, and establishes a compliance plan of what are the nitrogen loading reduction that would be required for just Wareham's portion. So the recommended plan then also outlines milestones for evaluating the nitrogen thresholds in these 2 other watersheds that don't have a threshold yet, and then selects technologies and provides recommendations for how to meet that compliance plan that's been established. And again, that's updated every 5 years. So these milestones are sort of bite-sized chunks of goals at each 5-year increment that can then be adapted, changed if town planning changes, if population growth changes. All of that gets reassessed every 5 years. So in terms of the specifics of the recommended plan, the strategies for nitrogen management and reducing the nitrogen going into the Wareham River watershed is broken into non-wastewater and wastewater nitrogen management strategies. You can see in the pie chart on the right, the numbers may be small, but the largest pie chart is septic systems. So this pie chart represents controllable nitrogen load going into the Wareham River watershed, showing 43%, the majority is from septic systems, followed by cranberry bogs, stormwater runoff, and fertilizers. So the recommended plan puts forth the fertilizer regulations, stormwater best management practices, and cranberry bog retirement and restoration programs to take fertilizer nitrogen runoff or stormwater nitrogen runoff out of the Wareham River watershed to address those non-wastewater nitrogen management components. To address the large portion of the pie chart, the septic system component, the plan outlines wastewater nitrogen management strategies in the form of sewer expansions. So to address the septic load into the Wareham River watershed, we have 3 sub-areas. Sub-area A and B in green and orange are sub-areas identified for sewer expansion based on public health needs. So again, those areas identified that have high concentration of problematic septic systems. And sub-area C in purple or blue is for the additional nitrogen management required to meet the environmental goals of the compliance plan for the nitrogen loading into the river. And I'll note that, as you're pulling wastewater as you're taking things off septic systems, bringing them into a centralized treatment system, you're reducing the nitrogen load significantly, but the treatment plant is, of course, treating and still releasing some small level of nitrogen out into the environment. So if you were to relocate the current outfall to be a different discharge of the treated wastewater, then you could avoid sewer expansion in sub-area C, for example, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a few minutes here. So after sewer expansion, of course, that means you're bringing in more wastewater flow to be treated. While there's a lot of color coding on this figure, this is a figure of the water pollution control facility, the existing treatment facility in Wareham, and the color coding just represents different stages of upgrades. But the point of this is that the existing facility land-wise, can accommodate all of the upgrades under the 20-year planning horizon for treatment of the additional wastewater that's coming in through those sewer expansions. And then the final step, of course, is what do you do with the treated wastewater at the end? Currently, the existing wastewater facility discharges to the Wareham River watershed, and in order to accommodate the additional sewer expansions and the additional wastewater that would be brought in for treatment, you would have to either double the existing allowed permit at the existing location or relocate the wastewater discharge outside of the Wareham River watershed. such as an ocean outfall. So again, currently, the treatment facility discharges is within the Wareham River watershed. So the draft recommended plan put forth these two alternatives, so modifying the existing permit of the treatment plant to double the capacity to continue to discharge in the existing Wareham River watershed, or to relocate the discharge of the treated wastewater to outside the watershed. And this table shows planning level cost of those two alternatives. And alternative one on the left is discharge within the Wareham River River watershed, which is doubling the existing permitted capacity of the facility, and would require a sewer expansion to sub-area C. And you can see alternative number 2 is discharging outside the watershed, to ocean outfall. And since you're no longer discharging in the Wareham River watershed, you don't have to continue with sewer extension sub-area C, and instead you just have the cost of the ocean outfall. And as you can see in the bottom line planning level cost, this alternative 2, or ocean outfall, becomes much more likely cost effective, which is why that is the final recommended recommendation from the recommended plan. But of course, in order to do an ocean outfall, you have to comply with the Mass Sanctuaries Act. And I know on the right is a long list of checklist requirements, but the point of this is that item 3 is that you do need to have a final approved CWMP as a prerequisite to pursue an ocean outfall. And so the next steps for pursuing an ocean outfall would involve, of course, getting a final approved CWMP. Final approved means through going through regulatory review and getting the state's approval, and then proceeding with the appropriate evaluations and modeling to show that an ocean outfall would environmentally be sound and could be proceeded with. So as I mentioned, this CWMP plan, the recommended plan of it, provides 5-year milestones throughout this 20-year process that are intended to be reevaluated every 5-year increment. So that first watershed, and they're done through watershed management plan updates, I'll say. So that first goal is, as I've been speaking towards, identifying what is the actual plan for discharge. Is it discharging double the quantity into the existing location? Is it relocating the discharge? Because the choice of where to discharge impacts how much sewering has to be done. So then you would revise the sewering plan based upon the selected discharge. And so you can see here that other goals are established throughout the 20-year planning horizon. So for this whole project, for the CWMP, the report is in draft form. It's written, it's available on the town's website. And the next steps would be to finalize the draft CWMP report, to submit it to the state for regulatory review. MEPA is the entity in the state that would do the regulatory review process. And the schedule currently, anticipated schedule is currently to submit by September 15th. And again, this is beneficial twofold. One, it opens the town for 0% financing for wastewater infrastructure projects, and also it, of course, is a prerequisite or a requirement for pursuing permitting for an ocean outfall. In addition to finalizing, of course, this CWMP report, the next steps would then, of course, be to, under that first 5-year goal, to be proceeding with non-wastewater nitrogen management strategies that I mentioned before, fertilizer bylaws, implementing stormwater best management practices, and continuing with cranberry bog restoration projects. And then also moving towards the permitting aspects of ocean outfall, as that was the recommended alternative that rose to the top, to do the appropriate anti-degradation sampling and modeling and evaluation that would be required for that. So with that, we just ask, we're here before the board just asking that the CWMP be, see if you have comments, questions, if it looks like something that you would recommend for the town to, town administrator to submit forward for actual submission. And I'll open it up to questions as well. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to ask Josh Faraday if he would like to jump in now. I did ask him, he is our Director of Planning, he was our conservation agent, so I think it's important for him to also, thank you,
Thank you.
weigh in. Josh? I did warn him ahead of time, he might have to do this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
No, not great.
I'll try to speak up. Is this better?
You need to be louder.
Okay, I'll practically yell. That's fine. I've broken down the proposal into a few beneficial topics. Thank you, Sarah. That was a great presentation. I believe that this proposal increases our public health protection. It identifies neighborhoods where septic failures pose risk, Mayflower Ridge, the Agawam Beach, Shangri-La areas. It extends the sewer service to reduce reliance on failing septic systems, and it's improving sanitation and groundwater quality. It has a few environmental benefits. Nitrogen reduction, addresses the nitrogen pollution. Nitrogen is actually the primary cause of algal blooms. It poses risk to eelgrass decline and estuary degradation. Excuse me. Again, it helps compliance with the federal and state requirements, Clean Water Act, the Massachusetts TMDL requirements, and there are regulatory penalties if we don't meet those. It improves habitat protection, and we're actually seeing a giant shift in cranberry bog restoration currently in Wareham, with a few big parcels being purchased by the Buzzards Bay Coalition. So there's actually an economic and community benefit that goes along with this as well. Protecting property values with cleaner water bodies enhances neighborhood desirability and tourism appeal. It supports growth to the town, allowing for additional housing and economic development goals. And as Sarah had mentioned, grant and financing opportunities rely heavily on the approval of this. Recreation and tourism are also probably going to see a boost with cleaner water bodies, which enhance boating, swimming, shellfishing, which do support local businesses here in Wareham as well. I believe the long-term plan for this has really laid a great groundwork, especially reviewing it every 5 years. So in my opinion, this is a good position to move forward on.
Thank you. Board members? Mr. Still?
Make sure my mic's on. From my knowledge, Barnstable County, more on Cape Cod here, has implemented a similar plan or a reduction in nitrogen-reduced septic systems, or what can you tell me about that?
Sure, yeah, and I do have my colleague Anastasia on the line to add some more, but yes, many towns on Capes have pursued with that. I don't know if Anastasia, you want to add more detail?
Could I have Anastasia's last name,
Sorry.
please?
Anastasia Rudenko.
Spell it.
Rudenko.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, so I'm Anastasia Rudenko. I'm a project engineer with GHD. And Sarah's absolutely correct. Many of the communities on Cape Cod are either working through similar comprehensive wastewater management plans or targeted watershed management plans, which integrate multiple technologies, including nitrogen reducing septic systems, which is one of the technologies that we looked at for this evaluation. But we're following a very similar process to the planning that's occurring in Barnstable County right now.
Okay. And now would we have to be implementing these denitrification systems with this plan?
No, at this time, denitrification systems are not one of the primary technologies, but they can be integrated in the 5-year updates if the town chooses. So at this point, this is a primarily sewering approach because of the large quantity of nitrogen that needs to be removed for the TMDL.
Okay. And then just more of an informational thing. Do you see more septic systems leaching nitrogen, or is it more of a cesspool? There is a difference between the two kinds of systems. What can you tell me the nitrogen outflow from each one is? Is a cesspool going to leach more nitrogen, or is a septic system going to leach more nitrogen?
So a cesspool will absolutely leach more nitrogen. because of the quantity of septic systems, that's the larger contributor, but both of them are adding septic load to the watershed.
Okay.
So yeah, septic system has a little bit of treatment, cesspools absolutely none. It's a hole in the ground.
No more questions. Thank you.
Just real quick, I know that Nantucket has hit this hard over the years, including banning fertilizers, because you mentioned eelgrass in there. Without eelgrass, you don't have scallops. And I learned that one over here, actually, because a lot of our eelgrass has died off, and that's why Wareham doesn't have a big amount of scallops. And also at 2045, I will be 60, and that's old. So that just made me realize that.
I know a lot of people that are getting into houses young too. They're worried about the cost, like of water and things coming out of their bill. Would this add a lot more to the residents of Wareham?
So at this time, I mean, as we've shown some project level planning costs, it's really up to the town how those costs are going to be paid for. You know, every municipality chooses something different, whether it's having it as a tax base, having it be on sewer users, having it be a combination. As many of you have alluded to, right? There's a town benefit. So some towns on Cape, for example, have decided we're going to implement the cost as just sewering everybody to make it fair. Some towns have decided we're going to do a tax base. Some towns have said we'll put on the sewer users. So it's really up to the town of Wareham to decide what is what's most appropriate to go through. Yeah.
I think something the other gentleman that we last meeting said that some areas he wouldn't seem fit to ever do because you don't know about tidal rise. Is that in the plans too, to like maybe overlook those areas and take care of other ones that you had highlighted? Swifts Beach.
Go ahead,
So
Anna.
the phasing is going off of the existing collection system. So it is actually starting at the higher portions of town and then working outward. So as you can see, the new sewer areas, the first areas will be in the upland portions, and we can continue to evaluate the impacts of sea level rise and climate change for the more coastal portions.
All right. That's all my questions I have.
So, a couple of years ago, I believe, was when we passed the $36 million improvement plan. Has that all been spent, or is this is being spent? How much of that is going to go towards the future costs of this? How does that all work out financially?
Sure. So yeah, the $36 million loan that you're referring to was for, or is for upgrades to the existing wastewater treatment facility, so the WPCF in Wareham. And this figure shows you in gray that portion of the project. So while that project was maintaining existing equipment and upgrading it, it was also the design of it considered preparing for the future. So whilst it was upgrading, everything that's being currently constructed under that money is one phase of towards really this overall comprehensive plan. Yeah, but yes, there are additional, of course, costs associated with the additional sewer expansions that you see here that aren't part of that 36 million, and that would then be part of some of these other colors of phased upgrades as the plant needs to have more treatment capacity for those sewer expansions.
And can we just add into that the reduction in the price that we paid for that bond? Wasn't?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. No. Great point. Thank you. So this the construction project that's ongoing for the 36 million has loan forgiveness component to it. And so the loan, the $36 million loan, was broken into a $16 million loan and a $20 million loan. The state chose to handle it that way. And the first $16 million loan received, I believe, 14% loan forgiveness from the Clean Water Trust. And so we had always anticipated close to a 9-10%. So that was a wonderful surprise. And we anticipate further loan forgiveness on the $20 million portion.
Okay, thank you. And So sort of in keeping with this progressive upgrade and, future expenses, and this sounds like a good plan, but I do ask questions. So this plan gets submitted, the CMWP plan gets submitted on the 15th. What happens next?
Yeah, sure. So it goes through a regulatory review process that's dictated by the state, meaning that that MEPA, which is the entity of environmental affairs that reviews this, they will open this to public comment. So there's Anastasia, is it a 30-day public comment period?
I believe so.
And so at that time, the public is able to comment on the plan and have comments and questions, and then the state will then compile all comments and say what needs to be addressed of those comments, and then a response is provided, and at that time they then provide a certificate of approval of the plan, so that it's sitting here waiting for if you want to do further infrastructure upgrades, and that plan is, a checkbox for example, ocean outfall or other infrastructure projects. I don't know if there's anything, Anastasia, you wanted to add to the timeline?
So it's a two-step process. We'll go through this first MEPA review, and the first MEPA certificate has a scope of items that need to be incorporated into the project to finalize the project. It'll then go through the second MEPA review, and if we've adequately addressed all of those items, that's when we receive our final approval. So it's two 30-day cycles. And I just wanted to note that in addition to the public comment, as Sarah noted, we have the regulatory review from multiple agencies. I know there had been a question about coastal resilience. So one of the entities is the Massachusetts Coastal Zone Management, and they will comment on coastal resilience. So you're really getting all of your regulatory reviews as well as public comment in that MEPA process.
And so this is a step that potentially triggers more steps towards upgrades at the plant. Is that accurate?
Yeah, correct. So it lays out what the initial, the overall plan, but also what your incremental five-year plan is. And if for some reason the evaluations show you don't go in this direction and you have to shift gears to another direction, at the end of 5 years, you reestablish that. But at this time, not all the components, of course, of the plan upgrade are in the first 5 years, right? They find themselves in different segments. But yes, depending on what you do now, it's like a flow chart, right? Do you move to, you move here, but if that doesn't work, you move to a different location so you can reevaluate. So while it starts that, having the plan in place and approved does start that process of being able to do various upgrades. Of course, if it's not set in stone and you change it as you need based on population growth and et cetera. So yeah.
And that's in the hands of the Sewer Commission, and as they decide which direction to go in, they come back before town meeting?
So this plan is a town-wide plan.
Mm-hmm.
It involves, so this process, for example, had a CWMP advisory committee that was made up of multiple entities of the town, the Board of Health, the Sewer Department, the town administrator, and I'm sure I'm missing some folks. But through that advisory group, right, and the planning department, right, that's how all of the needs of the town were pulled into the CWMP. What is the planning, the 20-year planning through the planning department and through your master plan, what are all these things? So it's a culmination of all of that and not just based on necessarily one entity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to ask, Mr. Faraday, do you want to add anything or ask any questions?
Not at this time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks. I want to say that this has been, you have spoken to the sewer commissioners, and I guess going back, but I asked you here, actually we had a conversation about this. I think it's really important for the residents of this town to understand not only the complexity of what we're facing, but also the timeline of what we're facing, because it's not going to be fixed tomorrow. There are all sorts of questions, and you have actually brought forth what some of those questions are going to be. Who's going to pay for it? How are we going to pay for it? That kind of stuff. So I think your presentation has done what I had hoped it would do, which would be help the public see what the biggest issue, I think, is really facing the town at the moment. So I want to thank you very much.
I have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
I heard, I don't know if I'm saying this right, the state is requiring this within the next 40 years. The state has some sort of plan where they're trying to make all towns switch over to this, to get everybody off a septic system.
You may be referring to the prioritization of certain counties in the state to develop a watershed plan in a time frame, or move on to alternative technologies. But the state has established that there's a total load of nitrogen that, for example, the Wareham River watershed can handle, and that is enforceable by the state. I can't speak to the 40 years. I'm not sure about that. Anastasia, do you know?
So the state 2 years ago in 2023 implemented watershed permitting regulations, and that outlines the timeline that communities need to meet their TMDLs. At this point, only Cape Cod is under that first phase of watershed permitting, but it is anticipated to be expanded. A watershed permit means that a community comes up with their combination of technologies to meet the TMDL. So it's not necessarily nitrogen reducing systems or sewering, it's implementing the plan that's been approved by the town and approved by the state. So this would represent the combination of technologies for Wareham to meet its portion of the TMDL in the Wareham River. But yes, those watershed permitting regulations are starting to put a schedule towards meeting the TMDLs, which are a regulatory requirement.
Okay. I knew Yarmouth and Dennis have just started a massive project, and I believe Chatham might have too.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of municipalities on Cape are all under that first year.
Yeah.
Every town in Barnstable County is compliant with this.
Okay, great.
I had one more question.
Sure.
So you mentioned that part of this project ongoing would be to establish nitrogen levels for the Buttermilk Bay watershed and another watershed. I didn't write the name of it down. And as those are established, because right now the Wareham River is the only watershed that is being looked at. So when those levels are established in those other two watersheds, that could potentially change the plan. Is that accurate?
So great, that's a great question. So the this CWMP plan actually has an allowance built into it for anticipated nitrogen thresholds being developed for that. Anastasia, is there any detail you want to add, or is that good?
No, that's a great point, Sarah. So as we laid out the conceptual layout, we know that there's likely more flow coming to the centralized facility to address the nitrogen management needs for those two areas. So we laid out the layouts with the flexibility for that plant to expand. In order to set those nitrogen goals, the town has to go through a two-step process. First, to do a scientific evaluation to quantify what the nitrogen sources to the two estuaries are and how much nitrogen needs to be reduced. And then that can be incorporated into the plan. So that will be, and I'd call it an evolution of the plan. And in one of the watershed management plan updates, those requirements would be brought into the plan. But there has been initial planning knowing that there's potentially more flow coming to the centralized infrastructure.
Yep.
And of course, when those goals are set, we would also evaluate if there's another technology that would be more cost effective in those areas. So we're not just assuming everything would get sewered, but we would look at a combination of technologies to see what's the most cost effective approach in those two watersheds.
Yeah, so in terms of your 20-year planning flows, that there is an allowance for the Buttermilk Bay and Weweantic River watersheds accommodated in there. So the volume of nitrogen of wastewater that needs to be handled won't change unless those numbers, that allowance gets tweaked with the scientific evaluation Anastasia is referring to. But there is an accommodation for that in preparation already in there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? No? I really appreciate how much knowledge has come out, certainly through the questions that have been asked, but I think
We need to do something, right?
we don't need to do anything. Derek has to sign.
Oh, so we don't say anything about it?
Well, we can say that we are supportive of this plan, and I think that the advisory group that was formed, certainly the Board of Health should be involved in this because they permit septic systems. You know, they do all sorts of things. So I think this is a group effort to control something that is a huge problem. And I mean, I can tell you that in my lifetime, I used to swim a lot, and I really didn't like to swim a lot because the eelgrass grabbed my legs. And now I can walk all the way where I was not able to even swim because of the eelgrass. That's
Gone.
disturbing to me, and I know it's a problem throughout the Bay. You know, the Buzzards Bay Coalition has done a very good job of documenting the problems with the eelgrass going away. So it's a multifaceted problem, and I think that, you know, it is probably the biggest one we have. And I'm glad to hear that the migration of which areas might be addressed first, because I am one of those people who thinks that I'm not going to be here in 50 years, but some of you may be, and part of this town is going to be underwater on a regular basis, not just on a storm tide, not just on a hurricane. It's going to be underwater. So I have those concerns about, you know, what do we do with people who live in those areas right now? Anyway, do you have any other questions of us?
No, I don't. I appreciate the board's listening to this and any voicing agreement of support. I've heard some great comments and questions, so thank you very much. I think I will also just add that we have done some public outreach throughout. We had the most recent public meeting was back in June to present this to the town. So in addition to, of course, going through the public comment under regulatory review, we wanted to make sure that the town residents had opportunities throughout to also see and hear about this. So I'll just add that. Thank you.
You did send us that whole presentation.
I did, yes, in
okay.
PDF format,
Yeah,
correct,
okay,
yes.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, thank you again
Yeah,
for your
thank
time.
you.
Good night, thank you so much. Move it.
I move to approve the application for change of name on the annual common victular license held by Retrocade Incorporated, doing business as Rewind, 176 Main Street, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571, to Retrograde LLC, doing business as Rewind, 176 Main Street, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This is one of those things where, as we look at all of the permits, we see that instead of being an LLC, it's a DBA or, you know, whatever. So when we changed some of the documentation the last meeting, this didn't get picked up. So it's nothing unusual, or we need to change it. So is there any further discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
And myself, aye, it is so. I need a motion to confirm the vote that was taken on the, on August 5th, under 48 hours.
I move to confirm the vote that was taken on August 5th to authorize the Select Board Chair to respond to the open meeting law complainant that was authorized under 48-hour business at the August 5th, 2025 Select Board meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. You all have a copy of the response that I sent out. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I didn't see that.
You didn't get a copy of it?
In the paperwork or what you sent us?
I have it right.
It was in the packet.
It's in the packet.
Not this one, right?
Just saw it.
We'll make sure that you
Have
get a
it.
copy of it.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the motion to confirm that vote? Hearing none, I'll go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Yes.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Yep, thank you.
Gave it to him.
Okay,
Oh, you have it? You found it?
excellent. Ms. Corbett, and actually, Mr. Faraday, are you still with us?
Yeah.
I am, Madam Chair.
Oh, goody. Mr. Faraday, would you please talk about the request to establish a comprehensive zoning bylaw review and revision steering committee, which is at your request, please?
I'd be happy to. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. So the planning office, the planning board is undertaking a full review and recodification of the zoning bylaw. We have identified the Barrett Planning Group along with Robert Mitchell to guide us through this process. The process can be quite extensive, technical, and requires broad community engagement. So the request to establish the steering committee is going to be crucial in moving this project forward. The reasons for this, it's going to provide local oversight and guidance to the Barrett Planning Group. The steering committee will act as a liaison between the consulting team, town staff, elected officials. They will be used to help set priorities, review draft materials, ensure that the bylaw revisions reflect what is needed for the values of Wareham. And the consultants have emphasized that early identification of town priorities should come through a steering committee. So the presentation or the request from you tonight is to put together a steering committee. I've identified some key individuals that I think would be broad enough to capture a lot of the desires of Wareham. I would request that you establish this with 2 planning board members, 1 member from the Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 select board member, and 3 community representatives. Ideally, I think it would be ideal to have 2 engineering consultants and someone who is familiar with land use law and real estate law. So ideally, the steering committee is going to approve communication between the goals of what we're trying to establish and the public. The proposal that was agreed upon by the Barrett Planning Group will have multiple public hearings. We'll do some study groups. And we're really just going to try to meet with a bunch of the different boards to get a lot of feedback. We want to have strong public engagement because the goal is to bring this to Springtown meeting. So getting in front of the public is going to be key to this. And ideally, hopefully we get a lot of these revisions adopted at our Springtown meeting. So my recommendation is that the select board formally establish the comprehensive zoning bylaw steering committee to oversee this project. The committee should include representation from the planning board, the zoning board, select board, and as I had mentioned, a few other stakeholders. Are there any questions?
Mr. Faraday, in order to, because the way it looks on our agenda, you had originally said 2 engineering representatives and 1 legal counsel representative. Are you now asking us to make those 3 at-larges?
No, I think we could keep the way that it's presented in your agenda.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? No?
Mr. Faraday, what is the methodology behind 2 engineering representatives? If you could just explain.
I want to see them battle it out. No, the 2 engineers are really important because it's likely that they've done work in town and they may have identified different flaws in the zoning bylaw that they've come across. So it's a different perspective than what we would get from, someone ideally planning for zoning versus someone who actually works in and sees pitfalls within the zoning bylaw.
Do you anticipate at least one of those 2 representatives to potentially have a conflict with whatever project they're overseeing? And that's the need for 2, or?
No, I mean, as it stands today, if one of those engineers worked in town, he could create a citizen's petition to change the zoning bylaw in front of the planning board in the town as they would see fit otherwise. So having them there really just gives a professional understanding of zoning law.
They also will have to file a disclosure agreement with the town clerk that they are, in fact, from time to time employed by the town.
I like that. All right, no more questions. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll accept them. Oh, and we would create this committee tonight, and then on the 2nd, we would populate the committee because we already have some applications for the committee.
I move to establish the Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw Review and Revision Steering Committee for the purpose of guiding and overseeing the town's full review and to update the Wareham zoning bylaws, and that the following positions be appointed as members of said committee with a term to expire December 31st, 2026. 2 Planning Board representatives, a Zoning Board of Appeals representative, a Select Board representative, 2 engineering representatives, and a legal counsel representative.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion to approve or to establish? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Yes.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
And myself, aye. It is so. Thank you, Mr. Faraday. I think you can go back to eating donuts with your kids.
You're free.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Select Board. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Corbett, C?
I vote to accept a $200
To?
I'm sorry?
I move to.
Oh, my God. I move to accept a $200 donation to the Council on Aging from Annabella Ann Ginches.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
And myself, aye. It is so. Go ahead.
I move to approve the curbside billing fiscal year 26 abatement recommendation from Municipal Maintenance Director in the amount of $577.92.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve as read into the record. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Gomes?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is so. We did that one. I don't have any 48-hour business. We do not have a town administrator's report, so I'm going to go back to announcements and initiative reports at the same time, if you don't mind. I'm going to start with Mr. Gomes.
Sorry, that was right.
It was like that in 10th grade. No.
It was all over the place. What was that? I'm sorry.
Liaison reports or announcements?
I still don't know if the 2 applicants that applied for the Wareham Cultural Council have finalized their paperwork, but I'm hoping that they're filling their board, the board up right now with the committee. As far as the other ones, I haven't gotten a chance to get dates on meetings. So, I mean, all I can say is it's great to be a part of the town. Get in there as a volunteer, learn more about it as much as you can, you know, soak everything up. And, you know, we need more volunteers. We need more people like all of us right here and people at home that might want to do something like this. So feel free to come into the town and ask about more committees to be a part of it, and especially boards. I mean, you know, it's up to you as a community to come behind this. So, I mean, let's hope we can all get on it.
Excellent. Mr. Still?
I'm not going to go around that way.
No.
I would just like to follow up on Mr. Gomes' invitation for people to get involved with their community and hop on boards and committees. Conservation still has some open seats left. There's still other boards. Just walk into the office, talk to people. You know, it's really important to get involved with your community. If you live here as a resident, it's even more important. Besides in committees and whatnot, October 4th and 5th, Don't Trash Wareham is hosting a town-wide cleanup event. We made note of this last meeting. We asked that any resident, whether you're walking outside your house, cleaning up the sidewalk, or you're going to take a group, or you're going to adopt an area, we just want everybody in town to clean up a portion of Wareham October 4th and 5th. If you have any questions, just reach out to me directly. Don't Trash Wareham's Facebook page has all the info you need. We just ask you fill out a Google form and the area you want to do, and just a standard bit of contact info, and you're participating in the event. So we'll see you there 4th and 5th.
Are you providing any bags or gloves or anything?
Yes, anyone that would like to request, you can also put that on the form as well. We are having grabbers available, we have trash bags available, and all the stuff will be able to be removed. You just have to fill out that form to let us know where that trash is.
Thanks.
My turn?
Yes, Mr. Chadwick.
Two things, just two announcements. One, Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025, from 2 to 4, you are invited to the South Shore Community Action Council's open house at the Children and Families Community. Where did this just go?
He was like that in 10th grade too, but I
Oh,
didn't have
I
him.
was 100%.
Sorry.
There we go. Of our East Wareham Early Education Center, the 60th anniversary of Head Start, from 2 to 4 p.m. The other thing is school sports are in full swing, which means next week school starts. Next week? Yes, next week. Which means the buses are out. The buses will be out. Keep an eye out for them. That way you don't get a brick through your window from an angry parent. That's it.
Thank you. Couple of things. I want to congratulate the town under the leadership of Mr. Farady for doing that back-to-school stroll on Saturday. I think there were very happy kids, and I think there were 6 or 7 businesses that were
More than
involved.
that.
Was it more than that?
Oh, yeah, I think it was 8 or 10.
8 or 10, excellent. So that was a great thing. There is a meeting tomorrow, I believe it's at Good News Nutrition, Good Life Nutrition on Main Street, for the people who want to have luminaries for the cancer walk that will be taking place at the track. And I just want to, again, voice our request. The up-to-date vacancy list for volunteers on boards and committees is up to date. And that has taken a long, long time. We have several hundred volunteers. And to make sure that those records are accurate, we now have a computer program that helps us with that. So if you are feeling like you would like to be on the Conservation Commission or the, Veterans, Cultural Council,
Community Events Committee.
Community Events Committee, Board of Library Trustees, Plant,
They have a vacancy right now?
no.
Veterans.
Veterans, any,
Veterans.
does the recycling maybe have vacancies?
They probably do.
Yeah, so there are a lot of areas that the town would love to have in the citizens involved, so thank you very much. I will accept a motion on those minutes, Ms.
But I
Corbett.
don't get to have liaison.
Oh, I thought
Wow.
I know.
sorry.
Um,
Ms. Corbett.
The committees and boards that I'm liaison to, some of them took a break over the summer, but they are up and running. So yes, we're a 4-person board again, once again, on the Community Events Committee, so we really could use another volunteer. Recycling is full up, but the more the merrier. And terms are always expiring. So if you're interested in anything, you can also apply online, can't you? You
Yes.
don't have to go to town hall. You
No,
can
you
apply online.
should apply
Yeah,
online.
yeah. Library trustees went on vacation for the summer, but they're up and running at the end of this month. And the back-to-school stroll, I really liked. My husband and I went last year, and it was a lot of fun. This year it was a little different. Connor Alden and Josh Verity put it together a little differently. So there was a starting point at the train depot where you got your bag and your map. And then Connor had put together a map where you left us, and then you went back up on Main Street, and I think it was 10 businesses. It was a good list, and they were really enthusiastic. And Josh, we were talking afterwards how Josh said, and I think he's right, it'd be fun to have more businesses and more stuff happening at the businesses next year. They went all the way down to the fire department and then came back to the train depot, and Josh had gotten a ice cream truck. It was called School's Out. It was a little school bus. And it was just the best thing, and the kids were really excited when they saw that, and there was just a bunch of happy kids. It was a really fun event, and I think this is this third year, and I think people are beginning to expect it, and businesses are getting more interested in it, and I'm looking forward to next year. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Awesome.
That is one big undertaking, and I thank Josh for taking it over, because
It is.
the last 2 years that I started that with the town and Mr. Sullivan, it is an all summer long planning. And thank you very much for taking that over.
That was Josh and Connor. Yep.
Okay, let's go to some minutes.
Okay.
please.
I move to approve the meeting of the Select Board as Road Commission minutes of July 29th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve those minutes. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Still, Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Gomes, Ms. Corbett, myself, aye. It is so.
Motion to adjourn.
I move to approve the Select Board meeting minutes of August 5th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Still?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And Mr. Gomes?
Aye.
And myself, aye. It is so. I don't hear any other business to be coming before this board. What do you... It's a good thing I
I turned
didn't
his
have-
off so he couldn't say motion to adjourn.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Not, is there a second?
Second.
Motion to adjourn, it is not debatable, and I will tell you that that clock is really wrong.
Oh, yes, wait.
Wait,
The letter.
What letter?
We didn't vote to approve it because Marcus hadn't read it yet.
Yes, we did
Yes, we
vote
did.
to...
We did approve it.
Oh, we
vote to-
did.
no,
I'm
some of
sorry.
the, we have to pick all these people for the zoning board, right? Bylaw committee?
No, that's
Not
next
tonight.
week.
That's not tonight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's next week.
Any further discussion on the motion to adjourn? There is no discussion. Mr. Gomes? We are voting to adjourn.
Aye.
Mr. Still?
No.
No, we already... Mr. Chadwick? Don't treat...
Yes.
Ms. Corbett
Aye.
and myself, yes, it is so. And it is
I love this.
8:12. Good night, Wareham, and thank you very much.